Yep.
Practice. But I think port of call number 1, Mr. Rez, you guys, as NIP, have, well, alongside Fnatic, have gone shopping through almost all of Epsilon at this point in time. What do you make of the Rez edition out of all the players available?
He's definitely the most upcoming player in Sweden right now. I mean, he haven't really been able to show himself off in a tier 1 environment. He's been in Epsilon. They've done well. They've had some upsets and stuff like that. Draken was the first guy that NIP pulled in from Epsilon. We tried out the Disco Doppler before as well. But now with the addition of Res, there's I think a lot of young talent with Res and Draken, but also the experience from Forest, Get Right, and Exist. So it's going to be exciting to see what they can bring to the table. I think it's going to do well, especially now when they're playing in the MMC arena. You know, they don't have the big crowd in front of him yet, so he can meet the first game with NIP. He can get comfortable, get the game going,
get the ball rolling.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, let's kind of quickly take a moment as to remember. Of course, this was a very recent change, removing you from the active roster of NIP. Now, when you're going to be looking at NIP, I guess it's a hard question to answer, but could you see from the player's perspective when you were actively playing where some of those weaknesses lied, why those results were kind of struggling to suffice?
I think it was like a mental problem within the team. It was also we tried so hard. We played a lot of CS, especially before the minor qualifier. But you kind of didn't get any, you didn't get paid for it. If you know what I mean. We didn't win those games. We went
rewarded,
out. Yeah, exactly. So when you put down a lot of hard work, you want to get something back, right? You want something in return. We didn't get that, and that's really frustrating as a player, because you put down so much time and effort into both your individual play and as the team, and I mean, not getting your game going. I mean, we can sit and play so we're going to practice, but on the game, that's when it really matters, right? And we couldn't bring the game when it really mattered.
Couldn't bring the game when it really mattered. Does that kind of sound like your current idea of where NIP are at right now, Janko?
I don't know. It seemed like for some reason NIP deteriorated over time. Some of the aspects of their game that were really good in 2016 early on, their discipline within the game, the innovative stuff they came up with, that disappeared. Yeah. It's not just, at some point they realized they were one-dimensional, you try to widen your game, right? But maybe because of that, they lost some of the good stuff that they had early. I think they're one of the teams who got hit a lot by the coaching change as well, right? Threat couldn't really full-time in-game lead the team, and he had other obligations at the different points in time. So all of that combined kind of had their effect, it feels like, on NIP.
Yeah, and I mean, you were recently telling us just yesterday off air about Threat's kind of re-emergence in NIP. So just to clarify, he is now 100% back to coaching NIP, no distractions, no studies, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, after the coaching change last year, he went back to school. He was with us at the team. He did stuff from home. He were at some tournaments, not all.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of on and off. But now, I mean, he finished school for a month or two ago. So he's going to be fully committed to the team. Ever since they started playing with Rest, they've been always been Threat helping them out. So I mean, and Threat, I remember when we picked him up first in the beginning of, I think it was 2016 last year. When we picked him up, we just went to Malmö, and he made so many good strats. He made us play better as a team. So I mean, I'm curious to see what Threat can bring to the NIP now with the addition of Res.
Of course, that was when he was in the in-game leadership role.
Yeah.
So there is some changes we'll have to expect. Perhaps not as effective as he perhaps once was. But we have to bring up the odds. Let's have a look. Rub our hands together, and we get to see exactly what the sponsors, of course, over at Betway did give this one. If you had to kind of slap a number on it, that's what they've given him. Okay. You're nodding. It's giving NIP the poor of the draw. I was about to say luck of the draw.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's hard in a way to put odds on NIP right now. I mean, they haven't been playing a game since the minor qualifier. They changed players. They've done a lot of changes. So I mean, it sounds pretty fair to me. Cloud9, they did qualify for the major. Yeah. They came top 4 at ECS finals as well. So I mean, Cloud9, I think they're on form pretty well right now, and I think it's going to be a tough game for NIP, and it's not maybe the best opponent for NIP in the first game. Maybe they wanted an easier matchup, getting comfortable.
Absolutely. Cloud9 on form, Janko. Does that sound right to you? I know they're a team that you find very hard to place.
Yeah, I think lately they have been on point. It's safe to say they made playoffs, winning 2 best-of-1s at ECS finals. They made it out of the major qualifier, which was the biggest goal for them. But actually, the problem that they have and the advantage that NIP has coming into this game is the fact that they didn't really play a game for a very long time. They could prepare for Cloud9, while Cloud9 on the other side had a lot of tournaments consecutively, couldn't really have time to change things. So knowing how Threat has a great mind about the game, does a great job of preparing the team, he can definitely, coming into the map veto, look at potential maps and kind of, you know, figure out maybe some weaknesses that NIP can exploit in this game.
You missed it, but we just saw a tweet come up from Shroud. I'm sorry, I was half listening, I got distracted. Shroud, the man who's about to try and play a very important best of one, just tweeted saying you're looking good today.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Shroud.
It turns out like you own clothes that aren't gaming shirts.
Oh, really?
People don't realize that.
No,
like, just open your cupboard, it's just NIP jerseys.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, I've been on the team for almost 5 years, of course, merchandise and all the things I'm wearing, so had to go shopping before getting here, you know? Well,
last suit he wore was for his graduation.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Well, it's not even a joke, yeah, I'm the same.
No, yeah, it was true.
So we've got him in his fresh threads, and now we're going to see how he handles the veto process. We can talk a little bit about this, where NIP's strength. Surely, it's safe to assume,
historically, a great strength of NIP.
I'll let you two talk about this one. Exist notorious in the veto process.
Do you think, like, with the new player, they're going to change, like, the maps they play in general, the maps that you guys wanted to play the most, or do you think it's going to be more or less the same?
I think that they're going to play I think they're going to do a new map pool, because we were not comfortable with the map pool in the end of NIP when I play there. So I think they're gonna change it up. I mean, Nuke has always been one of our best maps, so Cloud9 removing it. Cloud9 is a pretty good team, or they have been a very good team on Nuke previously. Banning it against NIP is pretty wise though, because NIP can get their game going on Nuke. Mirage.
Yeah, when you look at Cloud9, basically Mirage is one of their most played maps recently. Very strong on that. Train as well, so you wonder whether that's going to be NIP's last ban. Cobblestone for Cloud9, interesting, maybe because they saw previously NIP coming up with some new stuff, so maybe want to avoid that potentially.
So NIP have a choice here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Train. I think it's gonna be Train. I mean, Cache has always been one of those maps. Yeah. Shit.
Welcome to the desk.
Welcome to analysis desks.
Yeah. All right, Cache. It's been a map where, when we had Threat, we were always super good on Cache, right? I mean, the less that Threat has been on the team, kind of the worse we've gotten on it. But now, as I said, he's on the team now, so maybe he can pull out the good old Cache, the slow playing standard, just waiting the enemies out and doing a set strat late round.
So yeah, it was a lot. I remember there was a lot of discussion on desks when you had Threat, especially on Cache, and when you had that kind of dominant run on it. A lot of discussion was just to run these kind of molly executes, this slow kind of like spread of Swedes as you worked your way through that T side. That must have felt really good when it works. But what happens when it's taken away from you? Because I remember there was a period where you were start playing Cache again and it just didn't feel right, didn't look right either.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta change it up from tournament to tournament. You can't go to every tournament bring the same strats, right? Because people will anti-strat you. I think that's what happened to us before, at least, where we did like the A execute on Cache, for example, where we smoked off the forklift and we just molotov the whole site, right? The CTs can't really defend against that. But when it's getting like quiet on the map, and at the next tournament, people will know, okay, if it's getting super quiet on the map, here maybe is something in A main, there might be coming a execute from NIP, so let's flash in and kill them while they're like holding grenades in their hands, right? Yeah. There's stuff like that. Now we haven't seen NIP in a long time on Cache, especially not with Res and Threat backing him up now. So I think Cloud9 hard to prepare against NIP. But I'm thinking, if I know Threat correctly, they will have a pretty slow-paced game. They will try to take map control, try to take over B, maybe try to take over mid before doing anything towards either A or B execute. Yeah.
That's the kind of Counter-Strike I know you've always been a fan of, Yenko. I remember, in fact, often praising NIP for the way they played those anti-ecos as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Discipline was probably the #1 thing that comes to your mind when NIP around that DreamHack Masters, Malmo, and so forth, how good they were at anti-force buys, anti-ecos, which will really give them a lot of room to work with coming into gun rounds, right? You need to beat them at 3 gun rounds to make them play an eco round themselves. It really puts a lot of pressure on yourself to play. At your weakest, and you need to be able to respond very fast to what's happening on the map.
And here's a fun one for you, Adam. What is your take on not the Shroud debacle as a whole, but more of the idea of putting someone who is undoubtedly, I'm sure you'll agree, mechanically very competent at Counter-Strike, putting him in more of an aggressive positioning within Cloud9? Like, what happens if we just threw Shroud and say, you're going to be an entry fragger, go learn how?
I mean, roles in Counter-Strike is always going to be like, I mean, most players know how really to do everything, but it all comes down to like, if you're going to be a baiter, for example, I mean, if you're on Get Right when he's on form, right? He's